Hi, it's Claire from Cluesy. Thank you so much for joining in. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about melatonin. Now, I'm assuming most of you know how important melatonin is for sleep, but there's going to be a few things about melatonin that you probably were unaware of. I just want to start by telling you a little story about a client of mine who's 5 years old. And already they're talking about him having a form of ADHD, so attention deficit disorder. Now, this poor little kid has been taken, his parents broke up, his mum brought him to a new country, put him in a new school. He's very stressed about that. He misses his dad. Now, the thing about melatonin is we produce it until we're 10, and that's it. But if we have a trauma before we're 10, then stress really does impact the production of melatonin. So we actually don't produce it. So ADHD is caused by a lack of melatonin, which then causes excitability. The frontal lobe of the brain gets overexcited, then the brain gets tired, then the kid can't concentrate. So what does modern medicine do? It gives them a form of pharmaceutical amphetamines. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd probably feel a little bit uncomfortable if my child was given amphetamines at the age of 5. So I just want to talk to you a little bit more about melatonin and how important it is, and then I'll finish off later about how my little 5-year-old client is after some help with some melatonin. So melatonin, yes, it regulates your circadian rhythms. So your circadian rhythms is when your body wakes up and then goes to sleep, and then wakes up and then goes to sleep. And in some of those, sorry, you can probably hear my dog going crazy. She loves melatonin. So it regulates. So, when you're awake, your body's doing something, and when you're asleep, it's doing something. So melatonin is in charge of that whole process. But what you probably don't know is that melatonin is also like the conductor out the front of an orchestra for your hormones. So it regulates and releases, tells your body when to release hormones, especially important during puberty and fertility. So if you're having issues with fertility, it could be related to melatonin. If you have got one of those teenagers that's having a horrible time during puberty, could be a melatonin issue. So what else does melatonin do? Well, it's one of the body's most powerful antioxidants. So it runs around cleaning up all the free radicals, which are a byproduct of us living, and helps the immune system do that. It actually is the conductor also of the immune system, especially the B cells and the T cells and all the chemical reactions that happen in that. It also is extremely important for eye health, especially with the retina at the back of the eye. And also it tells the body when to dilate the blood vessels and constrict the blood vessels. So it's super, super important. And what I love about melatonin is, especially for my 5-year-old kid, he was so excited to hear this, is that the molecule has been around unchanged for millions of years. In fact, when little kids love dinosaurs, I could never really figure out, how does a little kid love a dinosaur? Where does it come from? Well, you know what? Dinosaurs had melatonin. So maybe it's the melatonin connection. I know I'm really, reaching out for clutching at straws, but they found melatonin molecules in dinosaurs. And we have that too, and it hasn't changed in that long. So it's been around for forever. It's extremely important, and if you don't have those proper levels of melatonin within your body, then it affects all of those things. You won't sleep properly, your immune system won't be working properly, it'll affect your blood pressures, your hormones, and everything. So stress also is a major, major impact on melatonin, because what stress does is raise your cortisol levels, and when your cortisol levels are high for an extended period of time, then your melatonin levels are affected. So stress and melatonin, and the research shows that kids are actually more stressed than adults. So if you think about your life and how you feel stresses, times that by at least 2, and that's what's going on for your children. So melatonin is so important. Now I know there's melatonin pills on the shelf because the pharmaceutical industry have finally realized how important melatonin is, but the tablets aren't, you can't make a tablet out of the molecule that we have, and it gets broken down in your stomach acid. So it's really not worth the box it comes in. And also with the lack of sleep, like lack of sleep leads to so many health issues. So back to my little dude with the ADHD, what we did was put some of our melatonin discs, that have the frequency to tell the brain to produce, because that's how the body works. It all works with frequencies. It's like tuning in your radio to 91.1 up here on the Sunshine Coast and getting hot FM, but your radio's tuned in at 89.9, so you're not getting the right message, it's all static. So with the ANF therapy discs that we use, it's got the frequency, for example, for the 91.1 is melatonin. You put it on and the body's like, oh yeah, cool. And it will start to produce melatonin again. It's mind-blowing. And so my little 5-year-old friend, we put melatonin discs on his jumpsuit when he was going to sleep or when he was going to bed. He would wear them sort of on the back of his neck there. Sometimes on the temple if he let me, but he's 5, so you know, sometimes you got to make him look like a Star Wars thing or a dinosaur. And he's getting a lot more sleep. He's able to concentrate more, which is taking the stress off his mum, which is in turn taking the stress off him, and his teachers are reporting that he's more behaved. Now, you know, kids are kids, they have a lot of energy, they need to run around, but melatonin, you would rather have your kid with better melatonin levels than on a pharmaceutical amphetamine. That's my personal opinion anyway. So that's all I've really got to say about melatonin. It is the most important antioxidant that we have. It regulates your immune system, it regulates your hormones, it regulates your sleep patterns. So you really want to make sure that you've got a lot of it. So thanks so much for tuning in again. I hope you've learned a little bit about melatonin and about how important it is. So if you want to know more, you know how to get in contact with me. Press the book now, press the message now, or give me a call. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you.